And I know sometimes when I talk like this, people say, oh, he's so idealistic. He's so naive. He's a hope monger. I've heard this criticism lately that I'm peddling false hopes, that I need a reality check. The notion is that somehow, if you're realistic, then you set your sights lower. That if you're talking about hope, that somehow you must be passive and have your head in the clouds and just wait for things to happen to you. I have to remind people that's not what hope is. It's true I talk about hope a lot. I have to. The odds of me being here aren't very high. I was born to a teen mom. My dad left me when I was 2. I was raised by my single mom and my grandparents, and they didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of status. They could give me love and education and hope. And so I do. I put hope on my signs. I spoke about hope at the Democratic Convention. I wrote a book called The Audacity of Hope. But I need to explain, people, hope is not blind optimism. Hope is not ignorance of the challenges that lie before us. I know how hard it will be to provide health care to everybody. Insurance and the drug companies aren't going to give up their profits easily. I know how hard it will be to change our energy policy. ExxonMobil made $11 billion this past quarter. I know how hard it is to alleviate poverty that has built up over generations. I know how hard it is to make sure that we're lifting up our schools, because it's not just going to involve teachers, not just going to involve administrators, it will involve parents and communities changing our mindset about our children. I know these things because I've fought on the streets as a community organizer. I have fought in the courts as a civil rights attorney. I have fought in the legislature, and I've won some fights, but I've lost some too. I've seen good legislation die because good intentions were not enough, because they weren't fortified with political will or political power. I've seen how this country's judgment has been clouded, sometimes by fear and division, how we've been made to be afraid of each other, afraid of immigrants, afraid of gays, afraid of people who don't look like us. I know how hard change is. But I also know this, that nothing worthwhile in this country has ever happened except somebody somewhere was willing to hope. That's how this country was founded. By a group of patriots declaring independence against the mighty British Empire. Nobody gave them a chance. That's how slaves and abolitionists resisted a wicked system. How a president was able to chart a course to ensure we would not remain half slave and half free. That is how the greatest generation defeated fascism and lifted itself up out of the Great Depression. That is how pioneers struck west. That's how immigrants arrived from distant shores. That's how women won the right to vote. That's how workers won the right to organize. That's how young people traveled south to march and sit in, and some died for freedom's cause. That's what hope is. That's what hope is. Virginia, that is what hope is. Imagining and then fighting for it. Working for what did not seem possible before. And this is our moment. This is our chance. You know, there's a moment in the life of every generation where that spirit of hopefulness has to come through, where we cast aside the fear and the doubt and the cynicism that so often passes for wisdom, but is actually just being afraid to reach for something higher, where we shed that and arm in arm we decide we are going to remake this country, block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, county by county, state by state. Virginia, this is our moment. This is our time. And if you will stand with me on Tuesday, if you will vote for me on Tuesday, then we will not just win the primary in Virginia. We will win this nomination, and we will win the general election. And you and I together, we will transform this country, and we will transform the world.